Hey folks, Steve Alcorn here with you once again. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight's video is going to be about things that we've eliminated. If you haven't seen the other two videos in the series, they'll be in a playlist. You can go ahead and watch them. It's called 50K in Debt is the playlist. If you haven't subscribed already, we'd like you to do that as well. Get notifications by hitting that bell and selecting all so that you know when we upload something, so that you can join the journey, I guess, of us trying to get out of $50,000 in debt. So tonight we're going to talk about things we eliminated. The biggest and first thing, and may surprise some of you, is that about 6 months ago we stopped spending credit card money. We don't buy anything on credit cards anymore. It was the obvious first thing for us to eliminate. Now maybe some other people wouldn't, but we did. We don't use credit cards anymore. Makes sense because we're already in debt, that we're not so far in debt we can't pay the bills, but if we used any more we would be, and then bad things happen and we don't want to do that. So credit card debt is no more. It's not contributing to the debt anymore, let's put it that way. So that has been eliminated, and it has been eliminated for about 6 months. A lot of you, I think a lot of you in the comment section have some concerns about us being able to pay bills or something. It just seems that a lot of you think that, let's say if we got a particular kind of consolidation loan or something, that we would default on it or something like that. I think by showing you guys that we haven't even used credit cards in 6 months, that kind of explains that away a little bit. It's not the type of people we are. We've paid every bill on time, every time, and we continue to do that, even though it's a struggle sometimes. And we will continue to do that, no matter what happens or how we get out of this. Every bill always gets paid, no matter what it means. We eat last. Bills first, eat last. Has always been our motto, and it will continue to be that way. I understand that most people who get into debt like this are just they didn't spend wisely, and that is the case with me. I did not spend wisely. I thought I was, but I wasn't. But a lot of people who get in this kind of debt continue to get in this kind of debt, even if they get out of it, they get right back into it, and that is not what is going to happen. I'll give you a little example about how I know that I can stop things. In fact, 6 months and I haven't even been really tempted to use a credit card. There's no reason. But I was a heavy smoker for, 20 years. One day I decided, okay, I'm done. I did try vaping for a while. And then right at the beginning of COVID, I quit vaping, and that was that. And I haven't had a cigarette or a vape or anything. Cold turkey. I can do it. My wife has been a lot stronger than me, of course, as far as this stuff goes. But I just wanted to stop any misconceptions about the type of people we are as far as bills go and financially. Yeah, we got into a little bit of trouble. Mostly my fault. In fact, it was all my fault. But that doesn't mean that defines us. You understand what I'm saying? And I want to make sure that you guys know that that is not the definition of us just because we got there. Doesn't mean that we can't get out of it and that we will somehow magically start defaulting on things just because we had some debt at one point in our life. So let's get that out of the way. All right, next thing. Credit card debt gone. We eliminated subscriptions. So what does that mean? Well, for the business side of things, I eliminated most of the monthly things that I pay to run the business. And so number one was, and this isn't really a subscription, but it was the biggest thing that we had to cut out and the hardest thing that we had to cut out. And that was our accountant. We had to let our accountant go. And the reason we had to let our accountant go was because our accountant's $300 a month, and we would either have to pay him or eat. And we chose eat this time. He's a wonderful accountant. He was worth the money we were paying him. But there does come a time where you have to make a hard decision, and that was the one we had to make. He will still be doing our taxes this year, so we'll get that still. But as far as month to month, we'll do our own paperwork this year, just to save that jingle, because it makes a lot of difference at the end of the month, or at the end of the week even. So the accountant was the hardest thing to let go, but we did do it. Some of the easier things were some of the subscriptions, even though they weren't that easy either. But number one was my inventory software, which was Inventory Labs. Two reasons to drop that subscription. Number one was they raised the price on everybody from $40 to $60 a month, which was a huge jump in price. In my opinion, Inventory Lab was still worth it, but not for me. And it's because we were already starting to struggle. This was months ago same with the accountant, months ago. All these things were done months ago, some of them, most of them. So Inventory Labs would, if you're not familiar with it, basically it's a software that helps you with your Amazon inventory, sending it into Amazon mainly. You scan it in with I use a handheld scanner, scan the barcode in, it goes into that program, it asks you how much it cost, expiration date, if necessary, you type all that stuff in. And at the end you get all your stuff, all your inventory listed in there. It spits out some labels for you. You put them in a box, you ship them off to Amazon. It's a little more involved in that, but not much. I mean, it was pretty nice software. It also did some accounting, kept your profit and loss, which was a big thing. As long as you were putting your buy costs in appropriately, it would keep. It was connected to Amazon through an API, so it would pull information from Amazon, so it knew what it sold for, so it would keep profit and loss for you, which was the biggest thing for me. I like that because I could just pull that profit and loss and send it to the accountant every month. But we shut that down because Amazon has a free version. I did use Acceler List, which is a similar software, for 1 month, which was $25 a month. It doesn't do everything Inventory Lab does, but it does a lot of the things it does. But because Amazon had the free option, we decided to go with the free option. Although Amazon's free option is not intuitive at all. And it doesn't have a lot of the features. It's hard to print out labels. There's a lot of things with Amazon's free option that I don't care for. But because of the position we're in, it makes much, much more sense for us to send in that way and keep track of inventory another way. So that's what we did. Got rid of that. There was also a thing I had called a Repricer. It was a company named Be Cool, BQOOL, Be Cool. Wonderful program. It was $25 a month as well. We cut that out at the same time as actually I think I did it before the Inventory Lab. Repricers work. Here's a very rudimentary explanation. When you go to Amazon and buy something, you'll see to the right of the product pictures is a price. Say this scanner for $27.95. The scanner will be here, and the price will be here. That price is called the buy box. What a repricer does is reprice your items competitively with your competitors to get you into that buy box. So if you scroll down a little bit, it'll say, see other sellers on this listing, just under the price. Well, those are the sellers you're competing against. Every one of us wants to be that price that shows up on the first page of Amazon before you have to click anything else. It'll say, it's called the buy box because there's a buy button right there with it. People tend to just click that and not look to see what the other sellers are selling it for. Maybe cheaper down in that section, but people don't know that. So everybody wants to compete for that buy box. A repricer just helps you get it. Sometimes it's the lowest price that makes it in there, and sometimes it's some other factor. The repricer is programmed to know what the buy box is and what the criteria that currently is getting people in that buy box, and it'll fight for it. Wonderful thing to have if you're an Amazon seller, but was unnecessary for me at the time, and still, and probably won't be necessary in the future because I'm not going to do Amazon that much anymore, although we will continue to do it. The reason being, Amazon has a free version. that I can use if I choose to. It's not as good. The algorithm that it uses is not the same as the third-party software because it doesn't have to be. It's just Amazon. They can do what they want. And but it does work. I've used it and it does work. So if there's a free option for something, I'm going to choose the free option currently. And probably going forward, unless I ramp up my Amazon sales, which I never plan to do again. I do want to keep Amazon as far as selling DVDs, movies, and stuff like that. We sell a lot of that, and some toys and things like that. If I find something that sells better on Amazon, I'll sell it over there. But I'm not going to go out purposely buying things for Amazon anymore, because that's what got us into this debt in the first place. I made bad decisions purchasing for Amazon, and I realized that I'm not the Amazon seller I thought I was, and so that's out the thing. But that was the business subscriptions that we let go. We also let go a lot of personal subscriptions. Number one of those was most of the streaming services. We have not had cable in probably 8 years. The only reason we had it before that is because my son enjoys sports, and he was the only one. He was the only one really watching anything. So for one person in the house, and he didn't like it, but we chose to turn it off. He got used to it after a month or so. He no longer lives here, but we don't need cable. So he's an adult now, by the way. We no longer need cable, and we never really did. So we don't use that. But we did have some streaming services. At times we've had a lot of streaming services. Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, Discovery, the Hallmark Channel, and I think maybe History for a little while. Some of those. So we've cut all those out except Hulu. The only one we've kept is Hulu, and Pandora for music. Another streaming service we had was SiriusXM for the car, and that was a couple $100 a year. So we didn't renew it this year. So that was all the way back in March. We decided not to renew. Actually, I think it was after March. Anyway, we decided not to renew Sirius because it was an unnecessary expense. I like Sirius over Pandora, but that's just a preference. Pandora is a heck of a lot cheaper. So we use Pandora for the music for the car and home. So we've kept only those two streaming services. We've kept InRoute, which is a program mapping software for iOS devices, so Apple products, and it's a wonderful little thing, and I think it's only like $10 a year. So that is another one we've kept. Other than that, all the subscriptions are gone. Everything, other than the ones I mentioned. So we've cut out a lot there. We do not go out to eat. We haven't gone out to eat in a long time. I went out to eat one time because I wasn't going to be home in time to eat. I stopped at a Taco Bell, and I felt guilty. That was in December. Other than that, we haven't gone out to eat since August. And prior to that, we really didn't eat out a lot anyway. But if we were out and we weren't going to be home for lunch or something, on occasion we did stop. Most of the time we tried not to, but we did stop on occasion, usually fast food, just to get something and go home. But we don't order pizza. We don't do any of that stuff. On a rare occasion, we would once a month, maybe, if that, maybe twice a month on busy months. But going out to eat, totally gone now, except for that one time in December. I took her out to her birthday in August, and prior to that, we hadn't stopped. I think August was the last time we actually went out to eat as a couple. So prior to that, we had, but not a whole lot. So that is a big expense for a lot of people, eating out. Today we went on a small thrift store run because we had a little extra money. Some people were very generous to us, and I do not take that lightly. People were very generous to us and so helped us out. So we were able to go out and get some inventory today. And we took our lunch with us. It makes more sense. And we have been doing that every time we go out, sourcing that we're not going to be home for lunchtime or supper time or whatever. If we go out and we're not going to be home for lunch and supper, we take 2 meals with us. The only time we wouldn't do that is if we go out overnight, and we cut that out a long time ago, probably, oh geez, July, June, maybe. Even prior to that, I don't think we've gone out overnight. Yeah, probably prior to that. July might be it, but I think it was even prior to that. So we keep every trip down to a day trip now, and so that we don't have to eat out, we don't have to buy a hotel room and stuff like that. So that was expenses that we cut out as well. Simple things like turning my iPad off from cell service. I still have the iPad off, of course, but turn the cell service off to that. Don't need it anymore. Used to need it, but don't need it now. Got Wi-Fi everywhere you go, and I got a CarPlay in the car, so my screen comes up on there. I don't need it in the car for mapping or whatever. So that was a small thing. Lots of other small things like that we cut out. I can't remember them all, but anything that saved us even $10 a month, we cut out. We didn't upgrade to new phones this year. I don't think we upgraded last year. So, but I think I don't know. We're on the iPhone 12, so whenever that was an upgrade, that's what we did. So it's up to 14 now. So we've decided not to upgrade phones until we absolutely have to. That's a huge expense. We are almost done paying these phones off. It's been probably 2 years, a year, or something like that. I don't remember how. It's been 2 years, I think. And it takes forever to pay phones off if you're just paying. I mean, you can pay the device off earlier. So that'll be a big thing for us when these get paid off. That's quite a bit of extra. I don't know how much it is a month. I want to say $100 paying on phones a month, something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably way high or way low. I don't know. My wife takes care of that particular bill, so I don't know what the actual phone payments are, but they're paid off in April. So in April, that'll be a little bit extra money for us again. So just by not upgrading phones this year was a huge thing. But I mean, so those are the things that we've cut out and things that we don't do anymore. I do want to address a couple small things from the comment section. One, why do we have 2 eBay stores? Number one, we both like to feel like we're contributing. If we had one eBay store, one of us would feel like we're not doing enough. Because we have 2, we feel like, keeping things separate, we both have a job to do. And in a way, you could even make it into a competition if you wanted. Who can list more that day or whatever. We don't really do that, but we are proud of what we've done for our contribution. We both are proud. She sells things that I don't sell. I think sells things that she don't sell. Mainly, like for me, it's electronics. She likes to part things out. She's just learning how to do that now. So at the end of the day, all the money goes to the same place. We like to feel each other is contributing to the household income, like we had a job. Because if we were working outside the house, we would both be doing that anyway, right? So it's the same thing. And I know, I'm not sure why that's a thing that people have concerns about, but I guess if you understood our background as far as where we both come from, you'd understand a little bit more why we feel that each of us has to contribute. But I won't get into that. Another thing is, why do we have 2 cars? Why don't you just sell one and buy a beater? Well, we've had beaters all our lives, number one. And this is the first time I've ever had a new car, actually. Do I wish I didn't have to buy it? Yeah, absolutely. Does she wish she never had to buy her car? Absolutely. But the reason we keep 2 has nothing to do with us working at home. I don't understand why people think just because you work at home, you do everything together. We don't. There's some family concerns that each of us have separate from each other that we have to take care of. And so I'm not going to get into those concerns, but there are times, lots of times, in fact, tomorrow is one of those days that I have to be one place and she has to be another. And because we have to do this, we both need a car. And so that's why that is. So at this point, we're not considering doing anything with the cars except paying for them. Once we get this debt under control, then we'll start paying extra on her car because she owes leased. And then once that car is paid off, we'll start paying extra on my car. That's what we did before. When my car was less, we paid extra on mine, and then we got it a little bit upside down here, and so that's why we quit doing that. Doesn't mean we can't do it again. It goes back to us paying every bill on time and being, in fact, usually paying way more than the minimum. We don't buy anything extravagant, except I bought the laser. That's the other thing. Why don't I sell the laser? I could. That would be an option. It's worth more than I owe on it. But once I sell it, then that it ends the potential income that comes from the laser. And I've had a couple of people now express interest in using the laser, not using the laser, me making some things for them. And so that is a potential source of income that I'm not right yet ready to give up. It made us some money. It hasn't paid for itself yet, but it paid, let's see, it's paid about half of itself off. So I got another half to do. We're ramping up Etsy. I've already made a couple of products, actually listed a product last night. A small product, only a $7 product plus shipping, but something I think will sell once it gets into the Google algorithm, because I've seen other similar products that do really well with that. So I'm still using the laser, and have potential of a couple of people who want to go into collaboration with me on it. So that's why the laser is going to stay for now. We don't have any other big stuff to sell, so other than that, that's that. This one is a little longer than the other ones. I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end. If you haven't subscribed, do that. Make sure you hit the bell so you know when we're doing more of these if you want to follow along with the journey. Hope some of the things I explained tonight made some sense. Hope I cleared a few things up. I hope you understand where we're coming from as far as the things we've already cut out and the things that we plan on not doing anymore. Thanks for watching. You folks all have a good rest of the day.